I'm Rachel Roumeliotis, a senior editor at O'Reilly Media, and I'm here at Maker Faire with David Pogue. He's a technology columnist, founder of the Missing Manual series, and a host of many shows on PBS. The latest one is going to be starting October 10th at 10 p.m., and it is called Nova Science Now. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
First, I'm going to start with the Missing Manuals. What made you decide to start the series?
Well, I started out writing the Dummies books, blah, 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 for dummies, and I just sort of discovered that as a recent outsider to computers, I had sort of a feeling for what it is like to be overwhelmed. And the problem with those, I did 7 of those books, but the problem is that series had expanded so quickly that I was out of subjects in which I had expertise. So my agent at the time said, well, why don't you start a competitive series? And I'm like, come on, I don't know anything about founding a series. But it turns out you can do that if you have a good idea. And I'd been frustrated by some of the limitations and so on. So I thought, what if I wrote the cover copy and I hired designers and I decided what to do? So we came up with all these funny ideas, like if you put a CD in the back of the book, you can charge $5 more for the book. So we came up with the missing CD, and it says, there's no CD with this book, you just saved $5. And instead there's an online link called the missing CD where every chapter piece of software is listed there. We also were told that we could make the book much less expensive if we went for black and white instead of color. Mm-hmm. So I found this brilliant graphic designer who created, in effect, color out of black and white.
Sure.
So every page has these shades and bars and and boxes that make everything seem to pop. Makes it very visually interesting, only with shades of gray. So all of these things were ideas that we decided to sort of remake the computer book. So that was the impetus. I wanted to be able to start fresh and have total control.
And how do you think it's evolved over 10 years?
It's evolved a lot. I think there's 100 and something titles now, not all of them by me, thank God. So a few years ago, I sold the press to O'Reilly, and they still let me write all the ones that I want, all the ones that I have time for, but it's officially O'Reilly's baby now.
So, okay, now in your role as technology editor at the New York Times, so the iPhone 5 just came out. What do you think about the whole Maps fiasco?
I think the Maps fiasco is now revealed for what Apple admits that it is, a fiasco. The insider story is that Apple's contract with Google was expiring, and it was becoming increasingly difficult for Apple to justify giving Google for free all the data that is spewed out wirelessly by these tens of millions of iPhones as they move around the streets of America. I mean, that is gold in that data, right? There's what the roads are really doing. It helps them correct their maps. It helps them advertise to us. It shows where we are at a given time of day. So that data was incredibly valuable. I'm sure there was some concern in-house that we're not ready, but it was one of those deals where they said, kick out of the nest, let the PR fall where it may. And clearly, some people are very upset.
Okay, so now on to basically you're becoming the man of science to the people, and you've done Hunting the Elements, Making Stuff, which some more episodes are going to come out, and Nova Science Now. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of how that happened and what you expect in the next year from that?
Sure. I've fallen in with a just amazing team of writers and producers at WGBH, which produces the Nova series and the spin-off series Nova Science Now. And originally we did this Making Stuff series. It was a series about 4 hours about materials science, which nobody thought would work as a TV show. I mean, it sounds really dry. But this guy, Chris Schmidt, this producer, had this really clever idea. Let's illustrate each scientific point in a really exciting visual way. Have me go hang gliding or put me in a demolition derby car to talk about the tensile strength of steel. And the formula worked really well. The show's got incredible ratings. So then they followed that up with this 2-hour special about the table of the elements, which is also something that people didn't think would be that good a show. And that turned out really well. And so now in October, Nova Science Now airs. That's 6 1-hour episodes. And then finally, a year from now, will be the sequels to Making Stuff, if all goes well. And there will be other stuff coming next year, too.
That's great. I had the opportunity to hear you speak. It sounds like a lot of fun. I know I'll be tuning in. So good luck with all your work with PBS.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.